Hello and welcome back to Unpopular People.
We believe that listening and learning from each other is key for personal development and success.
Today in our show, Nick Lange from Melbourne.
Nick is originally in Germany and he's a chef and moved to Australia many years ago.
Nick and Ben grew up in the same street in Germany, but went completely different ways.
If you want to find out more about unpopular people, please visit our website www.unpopularpeople.com and join the community for this movement.
And don't forget to check out our new shop on www.unpopularpeople.shop.
You can also find the show notes on our website.
And now enjoy this incredible interview with Nick Lange.
Hello Nick, nice to have you here today. It's been a while that we met each other, that we saw each other. As we heard in the intro that we grew up in the same street, but we developed in a different way because you went to Australia, you became a chef, and I want to find out a little bit more about what happened all along the way. But our listeners, they don't know you yet, so we always start with the same question, and it is, where were you born and how did you grow up?
Hello Benjamin and Elisa, thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you. I'm born in Heidelberg, it's west of Germany in the state of Baden-Württemberg. And I grew up in a family with two brothers and my parents, like Benny said, in the same street, and had a really beautiful childhood and lots of fun.
Why and when did you decide to become a chef?
After I had a harder time in high school and I didn't know which way I should go, and my father is a chef as well. Also, my brother is a chef and we have a family-owned restaurant. And I always worked during high school there. I decided to go away as a chef, but I really wanted to be in a fine dining way of cooking. Because you can travel if you work in top restaurants and hotels, 5-star superior hotels where I had my apprenticeship, and it gives you the opportunity to travel around the world. So why I became a chef is clearly I always like the action. It's never getting boring. You're busy. You have always crazy people around, funny people, sometimes as well psychopaths, but that's not a problem at all. I love cooking like most people do, and I think it's lovely to find a job, what you really appreciate and what's your hobbies as well. So, that's mostly the reason.
You said you love cooking. I don't love cooking. I love eating, but I don't love the process of creating the food. I love like the creation of food, but not the creating part. So how do you handle this to create food like the whole day, and especially not doing it for yourself, like doing it for someone else?
I think it's more interesting to cook in different ways, how you prepare things, because it's like you can buy easily a pizza from somewhere, but the whole process, for example, it's completely different. You work with those, you do pastries as well, or whatever you do. It's like you meet 10 chefs and give you 10 different opinions how you do things, and it's always interesting to see what you can make out of it and to see the people smile in the face when you actually do really proper food. And now it's more likely to prepare food. It's 60 to 70% of the whole day of being a chef, and the rest is 20% is basically the real cooking if you work in a la carte restaurants, and the other 10% is just basically cleaning, because it's really important to have a clean, because you work with food and it's good that every chef should be really clean. But the preparation part is usually, it's the interesting part, because you get so many products, cutting round things in cubes, for example. I mean, this is like, for some people, they don't understand these things, but as a chef, it's just always fun that you can be really creative with everything you touch, from a carrot to a piece of meat to, it's just like as well chemical processes that you have during the cooking, what's really interesting. And I think it was always for me really interesting to work with food and do all these things, because it's lots of fun included as well. It can be really stressful, but it's more likely interesting how everything works, all the reactions, how you cook things, and yeah.
Yeah, and how does a normal day in your life as a chef looks like? So when do you wake up and how does your day look like?
So in a normal working day, it depends on the season. If you have, like, for example, Christmas season, you wake probably up without not much sleep, to say it like that. Because you get always a little bit anxious about the next day if you have a busy day. So you get up, have a coffee. If you smoke, you have a cigarette. Probably most chefs won't have a breakfast because you just get ready for work, take a shower, go to work, open the kitchen, get ready, get all the food, get food ordering in, switch all the gas on, switch everything on what you can find to switch on, and then start doing preparations with other chefs, having a good time, having more coffees, more smokes probably. And then if you work in a restaurant, you have a la carte service, and you know your rush times, like for example, you have lunchtime usually between 12 and 2. That will be a tough time. As long as you're prepared, we call it mise en place. It's like if your section is prepared for things, you shouldn't be in any troubles, but sometimes chefs can be a little bit troubled because they didn't do enough preparations. So it will be then a funny day in the kitchen. Most chefs enjoy the heat, like the stress, the same as I do. I like this. It's a positive stress for chefs. They like when the restaurant is full, when you have probably 20 tables to cook and everyone's getting. It's just like it's like a big team, and everyone needs to understand each other. It's all about timing as well. And this is during the whole day. You basically say to each other, okay, how long do you need for the side dish? You say 4 minutes, or how long you need for your steak? 6 minutes, and it's like good combination. Can be stressful, sometimes lots of insulting in the kitchen, but I think that is a hospitality thing anyway. And once you finish your service during the day, you just ease up and do more preparation for the night service, and after that you go home, have some beers, or go to sleep, but it will never happen usually, and start from the beginning on the next day. So yeah, it's for some people it sounds maybe kind of boring, but as a chef it's every day a new challenge to go back to the restaurant and go through the same busy day again. But you have to really love to be a chef, otherwise I would tell everyone don't do it, because your heart has to be like for being a chef, you know.
So you say, like in the kitchen, there's lots of stress, and I think there also sometimes mistakes happen, of course, you know, because things go wrong. So how do you handle those errors or mistakes?
Well, yeah, mistakes happen all the time. I mean, we're just human beings as well, and not machines. So I would say, if you do a mistake, you let everyone know, okay, well, for example, you overcooked a steak, you have to start from the beginning, that you say straight away, okay, hold this order, go to the waiter or waitress, and say, okay, sorry, it takes another 5 minutes or whatsoever. And but as a chef, you know as well, for example, if it's getting a really stressful day and you know mistakes will happen, you know how to sort it out somehow. It's hard to explain. We are really, we're really good. If we fuck up things, we're really good to solve the problems really easy and quick, because you're getting used to all these errors sometimes, or or you do once a mistake, you don't do it again, and you can be prepared for all these cases, because at the end it's also up to the team. Like we help each other if you're in a stress situation, or if you be in the past and do all the orders, and it's always we help each other. There's no issues, but of course if you do a mistake, then everything goes 5 minutes back or 10 minutes back, and it can cause a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Great. And in the kitchen, there are so many different characters, I guess, so many different people you meet every day or in every new job. How can you handle this? And or is there a secret to get along with a new team or with people that are different than you? Is there a secret?
Well, as for being a chef, it's like, yeah, you're right, you meet lots of different people, but the first thing is we have like a mutual respect from chef to chef. So it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter where you're from, which religion, sexuality you are, it doesn't matter, because first of all, we're all chefs, and Yeah, it's really funny, to be honest. It's always great to meet new people in the kitchen because it's never getting boring. You know, everyone has their stories to tell. Everyone worked around the world, from fine dining till cafes or whatever. It's just really, it's like this, yeah, like I said, the mutual respect from chef to chef. Like, if you see a chef and you understand them straight away. They don't need to explain a lot. Or yeah, it's like we say always we are our own species. Like we are our own race. Like, it doesn't matter which skin color you are, whatever it is. Your chef is a chef. Like, we're all the same. You know, a little bit crazy, and yeah. So there's no one too crazy in the kitchen because everyone is kind of crazy. You have to be crazy to do long hours and work under so much stress. Yeah.
So within your family, you said your dad is a chef and one of your brothers is a chef. What is your other brother doing and what is your mom doing? And also what I wanted to know is within your family, like with especially with your dad and your brother who are chefs, how do you judge each other sometimes for their cooking? Do you have like those conversations, or did you have these conversations back home, or how does it work?
So speaking of the other brother who isn't a chef, he worked the last 16 years for universities in a financial section as a manager, project manager, and he went back to Germany last year, and do the same job over there. My mom is a doctor for cancer research. She's a really successful woman, now retired, still do the job for government sometimes, but she fought really well against smoking and like it is like cancer research with smoking. So she changed Germany and around Germany a lot. She got as well the highest prizes of the government, like this cross and everything for her hard work. It was really nice because you don't want to have only hospitality people in the family. So coming back to the other two chefs in the family, it is how it is. Like, if you work with your family, it's always difficult. It is. I helped out in the restaurant. So before my brother, the oldest brother, became chef and took over my dad's restaurant, we all worked in the restaurant to help out, but it is really, really difficult to work with your family members and have them at home because my dad is an old school chef. Old school chef means he will shout here and there, and you need to learn not to not take it personal because it is what it is. To judge each other. Yeah, we have all different backgrounds of cooking. So my dad used to work in Switzerland for the Bois Lac. It's a really famous hotel. He did all his fine dining. He was executive chefs for many hotels in up to North Sea when he was young, until he decided to become a restaurant owner. It's better to work for yourself. But he can be really harsh because he learned from all the other old school chefs, and it's like frying pans will fly through the kitchen. People will yell. Doesn't really exist nowadays anymore. So when my brother took over, they had many fights, but at the end it worked out. For me, I changed to a fine dining background, so I went to a 5-star superior hotel with really good with a top fine dining restaurant. So sometimes it's hard to judge because it really depends what you learn, you know. Like, I can't say to anyone who, for example, learns in a schnitzel house that he's less worth than me. I respect him the same, but he has not the same knowledge that I have. So you can't really judge people by that because it's their choice. And I said I want in the area where I live, I want to work for the best of the best. Yeah, and was the right decision to do. Love it.
Wow, this is a really crazy story from back then. So what was your craziest story you experienced working in all these different kitchens?
I think there are like too many crazy stories and probably not appropriate to say it on a podcast.
It's a podcast. You can say everything on a podcast.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much then. No, look, it's it always depends as well of the part of your life. I mean, you start as an apprentice and then you start building up your way up, like a hierarchy, like in any other job. It is the same, you know. You learn from every crazy story as well, something for yourself. So when I was in a younger age, as an apprentice, when I worked in the hotel, we had a really it was like a big family. You didn't care if you worked 12 to 15 hours a day. Because we enjoyed each other's company so much. It was stressful and there was a hierarchy, but we were all friends at the end of the day. Once you go out of the kitchen, you have beers together. So at the last year, as I remember, a new chef came in, and like more a sous chef. Sous chef is a second in charge of the kitchen after the head chef. And he ruined somehow our togetherness of happy chefs because he was a really aggressive and psychotic person and made people cry, and I mean cry with having tears, punched people. So nowadays it wouldn't exist anymore. People get sued straight away. What's the right thing to do? But he learned as well from old school chefs. And at the end of all these, we had a bar fight as well. So yeah, it was not great to do that, but it was as well a relief to punch someone who treated you really unwell for a year. There's so many crazy stories because I went after a while into Australia. And I worked probably now for more than 100 places because I did agency work and everything. So there are too many crazy stories, to be honest. Like, it's
your favorite one?
My favorite. Well, I worked in one place. I was a busy place, and the sous chef was an alcoholic as well, and he apparently had sex in front of the camera with the manager, and was showing the camera the middle finger, and they were drinking the whole bar empty and had sex in front of the camera. And when they came in on the next day to work, I said, where's Tony? He's you didn't hear, he got fired because he had sex in front of the camera and showed the camera the middle finger, and they emptied the whole bar and got absolute wasted. And these stories I think I can only find in hospitality. So this is one of the funny stories. Yeah, there's many other stupid things to see.
So, but why did you decide? Do you remember why you decided to come to Australia? I mean, there are so many countries in this world. Why Australia?
Oh yeah, that's really easy. So I needed a break from Germany. I worked, I think, 16 to 18 hours a day in Stuttgart, another city in Germany, and the people were treating me really, really bad, and I was just overworked, almost in burnout already in the young years. I shouldn't have these feelings already because you just work. But it was really unpleasant to work as well. It was as well a big hotel, 5-star hotel. So I had almost a breakdown, and my brother used to live at that time in Australia, and he said, "Look, have a break, come over. You can have this backpacker visa for 1 year. Come over." My plan was only to stay for 3 months, just to have a break and go back, and you get your energy back. Well, after 3 months, it's now almost 8 years. I love Australia. No point to leave.
And do you remember why your brother came to Australia?
I think my brother was always a traveler, so he wanted to travel, but also and study somewhere else, just not being in Germany. And I don't know really the reason why to Australia, because it was almost 16 years ago. I think it's just what you do if you want to travel and you want to go as far as possible away and be more excited, because once you're on your own, it's a little bit harder, of course, but it's also more interesting. And I think he was always like, he's a big traveler as well now. Since he has family, they travel a lot. I mean, well, not anymore now during COVID, but I think there was more in the family. We were always traveling a lot, and I think you can go everywhere, but why not Australia? Or why not, for example, USA? You don't know. So I can't answer really a question, but I think it has something to do with traveling, and just he's never been before. He was never in Australia before, and I think it's just okay. You try to give it a go, and yeah, and it worked out. He was almost 15, 16 years now here.
And do you see big differences between working in Germany in the kitchens and working in Australia?
Yes and no. So it is really hard to say. It really depends where you work. If you work in European kitchens, it's they're more European. Just say like this. Europeans are more trained in kitchens, so when you do an apprenticeship you learn a lot more than what people do here in Australia. So I'm not saying that Australian chefs are bad or whatever, like they're great chefs, but I've seen what they do in an apprenticeship or what they learn at school, and this is just, I would say, 5% of that what we do in Germany. So that's the reason the government asks as well for European chefs, because we are higher trained, so our skills are much higher, so we bring more knowledge also into the country. I mean, at the end, every kitchen is almost the same around the world. Like it's, you have a team, some people work hard, some people don't work really hard, and it is here more relaxed, I have to say. Here it's in Australia it's easier, I would say, than in Germany. Germany is kind of military. It's really, really military. But look, I worked here as well in kitchens, in upper class restaurants, and it's the same. Like, you have to work in the kitchen and you have to answer straight away, because people need to communicate with each other. Otherwise, no kitchen works without communication. But yeah, I would say it's a little bit easier here, and you have more staff usually in Australia than in Germany. In Germany, like, they're a little bit tight ass. Here, they can afford more people. What makes your job as well easier? You have more hands on the deck, you know, and yeah.
And if you look at a young person or like an apprentice who wants to become a chef, and you see like this person absolutely loves the job, he or she loves to be a chef or become a chef, but you see this person struggling with the stress. What advice could you give to this person? And I don't know, it sounds like there's some mobbing going on and some insulting and things like this in the kitchen. What advice can you give to someone else to handle this?
Like I always say to apprentices or to people that just became a chef, I said, don't take it personal. It can get sometimes really loud and nasty in the kitchen, how people talk to each other, but don't take it personal. It's the only advice that I can give, because it will be stress, but you need to somehow learn to deal with the stress, and it takes time. It takes years to deal with it. You know, I worked with, so when I was an apprentice, so many other apprentices were quitting their job because it was too stressful. They watched too many TV shows and thought, oh, it's so easy. So you really need to love this job to do it. And if someone is in a stress situation, some people, what I'm gonna do is just leave everything for 10 seconds and tell also the whole kitchen, if the kitchen is in a shit, or like we are behind, I told as a head chef, like, people put everything away for 10 seconds, breathe, and then we start again, and then people just put all the stress away, and then you're more focused on that, what you have to do. For young people, it's like, we have to go through it. It's what it is. It toughens you up. It sounds a little bit old school, but it is what it is. You will learn after a while to deal with the stress, and makes you tougher. And yeah, it's kitchen, baby. It is what it is.
Yes, thank you very much. I think you can transfer this advice to many other jobs that are stressful. That's a really good advice. Thank you. And coming back to Germany, do you miss Germany sometimes, having your family and your friends from the past there?
Yes, I do, but of course it's hard with the family now, especially through the COVID time. So you just can't travel on the next day. You have really to plan what you're going to do. Of course, I've missed my family. There's no point. But nowadays we have as well Skype and all these things. I mean, we can be connected. But friends, I miss them as well. But you know, everyone goes their own way in life. So sometimes I was thinking about, even if I would be in Germany, I wouldn't be in the same hometown than my parents, so I won't see them often as well. It's just that you don't have, through this COVID times, not the opportunity anymore to go like straight away to Germany. So there's really tough planning to do that. and that takes a little bit pressure on you because coming back, it's like, of course I miss him, but I'm also, if I have to decide where I want to stay, it would be definitely Australia, because I'm here 8 years. I just started my own life. I started from scratch and built up my work, and met many new friends. I mean, that's what life is. It doesn't mean that my old friends are not my friends anymore, but it's life. It's just go on and on and on. Yeah.
And you said like you would definitely stay in Australia, but just an imaginary situation. What if you had to leave Australia and you couldn't come back to Germany? Where would you go?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good question. I was thinking about that a lot, because you never know what happened with visas or new government regulations. So I was thinking, but I've never been there. I wanted always to go to Japan, because people said to me, as a chef, you would love Japan. And people, they know me, they said as well, you as a person, you would love Japan. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yes, I would. I like Asian countries. I love Asian food. So it's not really. I would be really sad, of course, but I would go. Yeah, Japan, or maybe somewhere Southeast Asia. I have some mates in Vietnam as well, and they're chefs there, and some are teachers, and it's great people, great food. It's not only about making money. It's more like if you enjoy what you do as a chef, and it would be probably Southeast Asia, I guess.
So if you think about a situation, just an imaginary situation, like the same with the country now, if you would come to 10,000, or so let's say 15,000 Australian dollars in a legal way, that would just fall into your hands, what would be the first thing you would do with this money?
I would probably save it, put it in my savings account, because I'm thinking more and more to invest in a house. I want to settle down. I don't want to travel anymore, and the 15,000 would be a good start to save some money. I wouldn't spend it on anything else, because through the COVID time, I was never good with money. Never. I got my money, I threw it out, party time and whatever. But through the COVID time, I learned to save money and actually to see what you need, what you don't need. I would save it because I rather want to invest for the future, not just having one big party. There's always time for that. But I would save it properly, put on my account and save more money, and hopefully can afford a house sooner or later.
You said you learned this in the COVID time. Was there something else you learned personally for yourself in this time?
Yeah, I got more patient. I became more relaxed. You see life differently because you actually enjoy more things. For example, I couldn't go. We were like 3 or 4 months in a stage 4 lockdown. That means you couldn't do anything. You weren't allowed to leave the house. And you start appreciating small things. So after 3 months, they said, we open up the hairdresser again. So I went to the hairdresser, and I was like a happy child on Christmas. And it's a weird feeling that you're so happy to do actually something normal, and it's just a haircut, but it means a lot. These small things. I mean, besides saving money, I stopped drinking during 5 months because I said just like, it gives you kind of depression when you sit at home and just get drunk by yourself or with a friend, and then you start thinking differently about the world. You see as well friends how they reacted to all these situations, and well, probably like everyone else, lost some friends, and some friendship got stronger. So for example, I talked to people, I haven't talked to them in 8 years. And somehow it's like everyone is on the lockdown, and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing?" And start Skyping, and it's really interesting and really nice to hear from other people. And I got through that time, old friends back to new friends, and but it's mostly I became more relaxed. How the world goes, more like less stress, because it's not a point to have that anymore. You're getting older, and that's what it is.
But this lack of anxiety, what I call it now, because like most people got anxious, like, what's the world's gonna look like in the future, and what's gonna happen, and you don't have this kind of anxiety. Do you think it comes from the confidence of always getting a job as a chef? Because as a chef, I think they're always needed in any situation in the world.
No, I was really anxious 4 months ago during the lockdown because everything had to shut down. I think 30 to 40% of restaurant owners they lost the rest, or they went not only in a lockdown, they just lost their whole businesses. Suicide rates went up. You get, of course, anxious about how does the future going to look like, because most people want a takeaway, or you can't maybe dine in anymore. You don't know at that time what's going to happen, because with all this strict rules that you have, 10 people in a restaurant where you can put usually 50 in, like, you think, oh, you don't need that many chefs in anymore, so it's going to be really hard. It was the right thinking, but at the end, Melbourne is busier than ever. I got, 50 job offers. It is going on really crazy. But the only reasons as well, they send lots of international students or families, or they couldn't stay anymore in Australia. They sent them home and they can't afford to come back. So that means most people work in hospitality as a student. All these positions are gone. That means they need to fill up again. That's the reason why we have such a demand on chefs, kitchen hands, front of house. It is crazy. I've never seen Melbourne like with job hours that busy. So I am not anymore concerned or anxious. I was thinking about if I do completely something else. Wasn't sure what, but you never know what happens. So yes, I was worried, but it changed in a lot, because yes, as a chef you can. Depends on your skills, but usually you get always a job. It depends on you if you want to take the job. It's like, I don't like cafes, but if I don't have any jobs but I need money, I would work in a cafe, for example, like that. I mean, it really depends on your choice, what you want to do.
And what is the biggest challenge for you regarding the next 5 years? So do you have something in your mind that you're thinking about all the time, or that a goal that you want to reach?
Yeah, so my goal was from the beginning that I'm out of the kitchen latest when I'm 38, because as a chef, and you do long hours and crazy hours, you stand the whole day, you walk the whole day, and you will every chef will get having sooner or later problems with the knees, with the back, with the wrists or with your arms, because it's the repetitive work that you have where you get actually then pain. So my idea was as well, like, I've seen so many things. It doesn't mean that I've seen everything, but I'm getting a little bit tired as well of kitchens. People don't really care anymore. So this is what I missed with the old school chefs. Like, you're fully on you love being a chef, and now people just don't care really anymore. There's always people that are just whinging around. And I was like, look, if you don't like it, then just leave the kitchen. So I wanted to do consultation for restaurants, because I have so much experience. I worked in so many restaurants. I'm really good at managing things that there's so many shitty restaurants and cafes out there. They need help from professional chefs. So friends of mine doing this well, they consult restaurants. So for example, they go, I would make you write your menus. I look how the stuff works, how much waste they have. I try to save every single cent for your business. But yes, just to consult people that can do better, or what is good. And yeah, so that was my goal in the next few years. Yeah.
Well, any restaurants out there, contact us or contact Nick directly. So yeah, what I also would like to know is if you were popular, like, I don't know, Jamie Oliver, or like the ones you see on the TV all the time, like Gordon Ramsay. Yeah. So if you were popular, if you would have like an influence on how people eat or how people cook and all of this, would you do anything different than now?
Well, I probably would be still the same crazy chef, I guess, because that will never go out of your blood. It is what it is. The popular chefs nowadays, they're too scared to say something in the public, because everything gets influenced whatever you say. You know, it's like you can't swear. I mean, if you're Gordon Ramsay, you can swear as much as you want, because that's his marketing thing. I would influence people by cooking probably more healthy, or show how easy it is to cook with less items, a really nice meal. But all these celebrity chefs doing it, like Jamie Oliver, they do what can you do at home, all these 30 minutes meals. What is great, and he changes as well the food culture in England, for example, for schools, because it was everything really unhealthy. But I would say as well, go more on a healthier base, and how to make even if you don't like cooking, how can it make it's more joyful for yourself to cook at home? If you can't be fucked to cook, but then still kind of you quick but do proper meals. But the most celebrity chefs, they're doing this. They try to educate people about food. Yeah, but I wouldn't change as a person, I guess. Well, it's really hard to say because most chefs, they don't want to get popular. They love to being in the kitchen and that's it. So they don't like all these media things and all these public blah. They just do it because they became famous. But they don't like it. They want to stay in the kitchen and just nobody talk to them. But yeah, it's more about healthy cooking. Or I don't know.
So you say healthy cooking, and you say like making cooking in general more joyful. What advice would you have? Like, what's for you? Like, how can you cook healthier? Like, what could you tell the audience? Or how can you cook more joyful?
Well, it starts with the knowledge about food. Like, there's so much food out there, and I've met people or families, they even didn't know what a zucchini is. So it starts already to educate what is what, or what is easy, what can you keep longer in your fridge, and not making only, because some people see if they see only green vegetables it's a little boring, or or you can only cook it in the oven, or now you can make nice salads out of it. You can really easy preparations. So the first thing what you have to do is educate them. What is what? People, what is which herb? People heard about this herb, but they've never seen it, and this is where it all starts. And to make, once you succeed, even if you're not a cook or a chef at home, you will try different things out, because for everyone it's getting more like, oh, the taste actually really nice. Okay, next time I try it with something different. Blah, blah. So people get motivated. They motivate themselves because everyone thinks it's really hard. Being a chef is really hard, but cooking as it is, it's not too hard, I would say. It's really about yourself, how you stress yourself. Like, oh my God, I have to clean 1 or 2 pots or a pan. I mean, if you're lazy, then get a pizza. But nah, it's more about education, about where's the food come from. Or I would also suggest everyone to support your local butcher if you like to eat meat. Like, I don't want to buy actual meat in supermarkets anymore, so I'd rather go to a butcher and pay a few dollars more and support them than buying this already mass slaughtered beef. Well, it's really cheap, and also the quality is not good. If you're vegetarian, there are many other options. Vegan becomes more and more popular, and there also have millions of options. And
And you mentioned healthy eating, education. So imagine you would have a school of young people who are learning to cook. Not just the cooking, but what else would you teach them to become a great chef or a great person in general?
Well, like with kids is like, you have to eat more healthy or whatever. You have to do it playful with them. So if you show them carrot, they say, "Oh, I don't want it." You can make carrots really nice and cook for them. Like, you can make healthy food look unhealthy for kids, and they would love it. You can make pizzas. It's not unhealthy if you have a pizza, but if you have vegetarian vegetables on it, and you make your own pastry dough and everything, you don't need a kilo of cheese on it, But well, I would probably educate children or young older children to learn where the money's come from your mom and dad, so that they have actually respect. If you drink a glass of water, where's that coming from? Who pays the gas bills? Who you need to learn. It's not a natural thing that your parents look after you. They work really hard, and this is how my dad educated me. He took me in young age. No, it wasn't child work. It was a family business. So he brought me to work like once a week. And he showed me where everything where it comes from, He said, okay, you want to buy a pack of chewing gum? You work for this. You need to learn all these things. And I'm really happy that I learned it really early, because when I went to high school, I went to a private high school, lots of rich kids, I had at the same time 3 jobs. And they said, "What, you work?" And I said, "Yes, I have 3 jobs." And I said, oh, why you do this? I said, well, because my family's not rich as yours, and I want to work, and it's my money. I can do with it whatever you want. So I would probably teach kids where's all this come from? Because for everyone, this is so normal nowadays to have running water, to have a fridge, to have all these things, but some other people, they don't have it. You know, they're suffering. They have maybe to go to Salvation Army, get maybe some clothes for the kids. So it's really important to show kids in young age that everything is just where's it come from, basically everything. Also the steak, it's an animal, so you should educate them. It's get killed, blah 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 blah. You know, you process the meat, and that's probably the first step in life. I mean, subjects or whatever. I mean, I went to high school. I never used this maths again, or I mean, I'm a chef, but I don't know. Well, some schools they do have cooking courses, but I'm not really sure. But it's more like the basic things for life that you're already prepared. Would be much easier if someone had me explained when I was younger at school what's actually going on with tax and everything, instead of learning by doing. But that's fine. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very nice. And also, I think appreciation for things and understanding where it comes from. I think this is something everyone needs to learn. And if you haven't learned this yet, it's maybe very important to understand that the water is coming from somewhere else, and someone had to work for this. Someone had to prepare the water for you to drink, and for this whole process. So I think that's a very, very good lesson.
Nothing is for free.
Yeah, nothing is for free. Yeah. So very good lesson to learn. So thank you very much for this wise words. And I would just want to have like a couple of more questions about food, just out of interest. So there's some things like I'm sometimes really struggling to use, and especially like the amount, and I don't know how to like put them into the food. Like for example, I look at nutmeg and I look at cloves, and those are like spices that are very difficult for me to handle. Like do you have some advice for people like how to handle nutmeg or how to handle cloves?
Yeah, well, for example, with nutmeg is that, so I would buy from the beginning whole ones instead of having already the powder. But the powder tastes a little bit more, I don't know, weird, in my opinion. So with nutmeg, you ground it in step by step, and then you try it again and again, because nutmeg can be really brutal if you do too much, and apparently it makes you high as well. So it depends on you how much you want to put in there. But yeah, you have to do always a little bit and then see how it tastes. But even the problem is more you try things, less you will taste, because it tastes again the same and the same and the same. But you have to do it step by step, exactly these things. Believe me, that probably should follow any recipes. I wouldn't suggest, okay, if there's a recipe, you can follow the recipe, but it's more like recipes is just like a ground rule. You do whatever you feel like. I love nutmeg. For example, I put in my mashed potatoes, and it's really great. And yeah, it's lovely. You can eat in so many other things, but cloves, yeah, it's not. What do you use it for? Like, depends on it as well. Like, what is it? Which dish are you using it for? If it's for a meat dish, because you don't want to ruin other flavors as well. It really depends what is, what other thing on what are you using it. So for mashed potatoes, you have the mashed potato flavor, and you don't want to have it like a little bit, just a little taste of it. But the other dishes where it's a little bit stronger as well. So you don't want to ruin any other flavors as well of the food. Be easy on these things, I would say. Otherwise, you can't eat it.
Are there sometimes dishes that comes up in your head, like new creations or something? And if yes, what do you do with these ideas? Do you write them down, or do you have a blog, or I don't know, YouTube channel, or something like where people can see what you create?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been a head chef 3 times, and as a head chef, you have to create menus, and you try always to do things differently than anyone else. I mean, look, they're always, if you have a steak, you have a steak, of course. I mean, restaurants do that. It just depends on what you specialize as well. I learned, for example, classic French and Italian in a like fine dining way, So it's really, most of the dishes are anyway classic, so you don't want to change much, but nowadays, through all these crazy cooking as well, this fusion cooking, you're allowed to do more now. You can do like Japanese with French together now, you know, for example, and it gives you completely different ways. What was over the last 100 years, you didn't do any fusions. So because people they were a little bit too afraid to get something new, and then somehow the nouvelle cuisine was there, and it started people getting more and more creative. So yes, you think about a lot of things, but you look as well what other restaurants are doing, and then sometimes you combine, because you know if there's a restaurant full like somewhere else, then you know their menu is good. So it's sometimes as well a lot of stealing from each other ideas and cooking. That's what chefs do. If you work as a chef de partie, it's like a lower. It's not like, well, as a chef, you take sometimes recipes from the head chefs, and this is what it's like. You steal sometimes things, but it's normal because there's always someone who created something, and people will follow that. But since since I think 3 or 4 years, I'm not a head chef anymore. So I work for people, and it's through agencies. So I don't have to worry about these things anymore. And like I said, I want to go more and more out of the kitchen. But it's always something. You dream about things, so it pops up, or you see a dish and you say, oh, that would be nice. And you think in your head, you can combine things. I'm a big fan of pickle. I try in a moment to pickle everything. Like, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least you try, you know. It's hard to say. I have cookbooks as well, but either I lost them somewhere in Germany, or yeah, I don't know.
And you don't have the dream to publish them and to write a book or like a channel or something where you can show your work?
Not really. So my father used always to say, you have to write everything down once you started your career as a chef, all the stories, because they're great books from other chefs. They talk about their apprenticeship time, or what their experience was in their life. I should have done it because I almost forgot the best stories. Because there's non-stop something is happening. But you can always write a book about it, because yeah, working in the kitchen is just crazy, and you see so many different things. About recipes, I wouldn't really, because many people are judgmental, or how do you write recipes? There are many recipe books that people buy for their home. They're not chefs, and they actually can't use it because they don't know what they actually need, or they don't have the kitchen equipment. So sometimes I think it's a little bit weird from famous chefs that they write their books like that easy normal people couldn't understand or don't know what to do. So and you know, I didn't know what would make it so special, because I've seen a lot of books and I was like, oh, all right, okay, it's kind of basic, so not really exciting. So I just rather buy them than to publish them. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It was really great, because like all the information about kitchens and cooking and all the stuff what I had in the past came from you. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show and to talk to you and to ask you some of the questions we had. Well, thank you very much. That was really great. And I say goodbye from my side.
Yeah, thank you from my side as well. It was awesome to get the insights from the kitchen live. So I have no idea about hospitality, and it's so interesting to learn more about it, how it works, because for me I go there as a guest and I don't know how a kitchen works from inside. So it's awesome to get all this inside information. Thank you very much.
If there are any final words from your side, there's now the time for it.
Well, thanks for your invitation, first of all. There are not more many words to say. I hope everyone is fine. I don't misunderstand things that I said. I'm not saying every chef is like that. I'm talking from my own experience. That's the most important thing, that the people need to understand that. And shout out to every chefs. Keep up your hard work. You're great. And also your listener, you are even greater.
Thanks for listening to this very interesting and inspiring interview with my good old friend Nick originally from Germany.
If you want to find out more about this episode, visit our website www.unpopularpeople.com. There you find the show notes to this episode.
Thank you and goodbye.